You're now listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.
Hello, Rockies. This is Sarah Jane Maroney, your host for Engage the Rockies, your go-to podcast concerning local and state issues for Colorado. Welcome to the third full week of January for the Week in Review in 2025. First up, City Council. The election is coming up on the 1st of April, and we have had 15 candidates file with the city clerk's office. We actually spoke to Sarah Johnson in an interview episode that those release on Mondays, and you can go back and check that out and get a little bit more information about what it was required and which districts and things like this. So there are two city council members that are running for re-election, Dave Donaldson and Nancy Henium, I think is how you pronounce that. I am so sorry for anyone whose names I butcher. Basically, that in District 1, Dave Donaldson is running again. He's the incumbent, and he will be facing off against retired Air Force veteran Lee Lemkool. In District 2, which is the northernmost district, we have Tom Bailey, the current chairman of El Paso County Planning Commission, and he is running against Frank Krissinger. District 3, Brandy Williams is running to return to the city council. She served there from 2011 to 2013. And she will be facing two different candidates. The first one is Greg Thornton, who is a member of the Colorado Springs Parks Advisory Board for the last 6 years. And the third candidate is Rick Gillett, and he did attempt to run for the Cheyenne Mountain School District previously. District 4, again, 3 candidates. And this is the southeastern part of Colorado Springs. So Kimberly Gold, who is president of the Colorado Springs Black Chamber. And then 2 other candidates, Sharia. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I really am trying. Elliot Sterling. And she attempted to run for the Harrison School District 2 in 2023. And then finally, the third candidate there is Chauncey Johnson, who is a community activist and organized a Tabor funding vote for the CSPD Training Academy. District 5, again, it's Henjum. There is a J there. Sorry about that. Councilwoman Henjum is running for re-election, and she will face off with Christopher Burns, who is a former officer in the CSPD and who is currently on the Law Enforcement Transparency and Advisory Commission. And finally, in District 6, we have Parth Melpackham, who is the president of D11 School Board, and Roland Rainey Jr., who is an Air Force veteran and is on the board of directors for Banning Lewis Academy. And then finally, Aaron Schick, a financial advisor, has also filed. Good luck to everyone. Exciting times ahead. Big news in D11. Jenkins Middle School is going to be closed. Hopefully temporarily, but we'll see. Basically, a CSFD inspection happened on the 18th of December and found that the building, quote, had reached a critical point requiring immediate attention, end quote, which pushed repairs that had been planned forward. So what that means is that the 6th grade students are headed to Russell Middle School, and the 7th and 8th grade students are headed to Doherty High School. There were a couple of meetings about this, and evidently the superintendent, Michael Gall, sorry. I don't know what it is with names today. He said that he had failed the people of Jenkins and that ultimately he is accountable for that failure, and the goal was to begin to regain their trust. Basically, anybody who walks to Jenkins is going to be bused elsewhere and then returned to the bus loop. They're going to try and make sure that the Jenkins Middle School students are served separately from Russell and Doherty's students. Obviously, at some point, they might cross paths, but they're going to keep separate hallways and things like this. And their lunch and snacks and breakfasts will be served at different times and different entrances, and dedicated school entrances will for each different student body. But because there is a huge amount of funding for a $2.5 million for the Colorado Springs School of Technology that has been agreed upon and was going forward has now been tabled. Still possibly happening, but basically they have brought forward the repairs for Jenkins. Obviously, that being a priority if students can't attend, and then we'll have to see what happens with the rest of it. Some Colorado Springs residents, and I'm using the word residents in quotation marks, have come to the attention of the Colorado Supreme Court. In a decision on Tuesday, they said, quote, "An elephant is not a person," end quote. Yes, this is really true. This is actually what came out of the court. And they are upholding an El Paso County District Court already that decided that 5 elephants at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo were not included in state liberty statutes, meaning that they are not people. The Non-Human Rights Project appealed the district court's dismissal of a habeas corpus proceeding, which under Colorado law grants people, quote, "confined or restrained of their liberty," end quote, the ability to petition the court for relief. Basically, the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo says that they feel as if the Non-Human Rights Project are grandstanding, trying to get attention for their organization and drum up some funding. In the Colorado Supreme Court decision, they cited that there is evidence for other dismissed cases from the Non-Human Rights Project in New York, California, and Hawaii as well. However, my favorite part of this whole article is that they were not asking for the elephants to be freed. And I'll even read you the beginning of this. Quote, this is the Colorado Supreme Court decision. Quote, "Finally, we observe that NRP is not actually seeking the right to liberty, that is, freedom from captivity for the elephants. It conceded as much during oral argument, acknowledging that it was not suggesting that the zoo should open its gates and set the elephants loose to roam free in Colorado Springs and beyond, any more than it was suggesting that a very smart dog could not be kept as a house pet. Instead, it was asking to transfer the elephants from the zoo to a different confinement. Elephants are not people." In his inauguration speech on Monday, President Trump said that he is going to go after criminals and gang members. Of course, he's referring specifically to Venezuelan gangs that are entrenched in the Denver metro area. And he's indicated that he intends to revoke a longstanding procedure known as, quote, "sensitive locations policy," quote, end quote. So basically what this means is that federal agents avoid schools, churches, hospitals, and this type of thing. However, the Denver Public Schools Superintendent, Alex Marrero, I think, again, names today, goodness. He said that the guidance to staff training was conducted last week and that he suggested that they determine the purpose for a visit, inquire about warrants or court orders, and call the district's general counsel, among other things, and including suggesting a lockdown at the school. Last year, Governor Jared Polis signed a bipartisan bill authorizing $24 million from the State Education Fund for the 2023-24 budget. And under the new law, that means that Colorado distributes a one-time payment of $4,500 for each new arrival student. And it is not clear how much funding DPS specifically received from the law, and it went into effect on the 18th of April in 2024. But the district had been experiencing quite a lot of enrollment decline and has been buoyed by the new students, many of whom crossed the border illegally with family members. Finally, back closer to home, there is a rumor that the county commissioners are going to be voting on a resolution to support President Trump's policies. And in the past, they have been particularly vocal around illegal immigration and including the use of federal funds. Thanks for tuning in. Those are the top stories for the third full week of January in 2025. If you need any show notes and any locations of where we found these articles, they are sent every other week in an email. So please go to our website, engagetherockies.com, and sign up. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado. Bye.